All right. Welcome to another episode of the Prosperous Man Podcast. Where we are just aiming for being prosperous in all things and believe that prosperity is bigger than money. We want to be successful in every area of our lives. So, today we have very special guest, someone who I have just been bonding with and having a good time, parent to parent, and talking about our parent struggles. So with us today is Lisa Peranzo. So Lisa has over 10 years of experience in the fitness industry. She has worked with diverse populations, including first responders, athletes, adolescents. Her experience in the fitness industry has included working with clients to rehab from a variety of injuries, from spinal cord injuries to brain injuries, recovering from childbirth to sports related injuries, as well as joint replacements. Her focus is always to help her clients find their own strength and power from their fitness routine. That just sounds like an illustrious career, and she has covered the gamut and just anything and everything. So, she is a PMA accredited Pilates instructor, a senior trainer, certified CrossFit instructor, certified kettlebell instructor. You name it, she is certified in it. Lisa also has certification in paleo nutrition, a bachelor's degree in psychology, and a master's degree in human behavior. Lisa does it all. Let me tell you what. So she is also a contributing writer. Add writer to the list. What? For HealthWeb magazine as well as Smartrepreneur magazine. So, in addition to all of those things, she is also the founder and CEO of A Healthful Life. Lisa has been featured in various magazines and on podcasts, including San Diego Voyager magazine, Combat Divas, the Poorly Written Podcast, and Radical Resilience. And we're going to add to that list the Prosperous Man let me say my own podcast right. The Prosperous Man Podcast. Wow, I
Yes, we
stumbled through
had
my own title. Oh, so welcome, Lisa. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I knew as soon as you got on the video and I saw the Angry Bird shirt, I was like, this is going to be fantastic.
You know, it's one of those struggles like, okay, do I really get dressed up because it's on video? I'm like, no, I'm going to be
No,
me.
don't.
This is what I wore today, my
Yeah.
Angry Bird shirt. So,
I tell clients all the time, I was in corporate America before I went into the fitness industry full time. And I manifested this life because all I wanted was something where I could wear yoga pants every single day. And that's like the professional look. So now I have like every woman, by the way, in the fitness industry or not can relate to this. I have like 75 pairs of yoga pants. Not that many. I'm exaggerating, but go with me.
oh,
And it's like casual wear, the dressy wear.
you have dressy yoga pants, casual yoga
Yeah,
pants.
dressy yoga pants for the hard workout, for the easy workout. Stop it. Your wife does. Don't lie. You know she
Oh,
does.
she does. She
Hmm.
absolutely does. I can't even deny that. So,
Yeah. So when she's like, honey, can you give me that black pair of yoga pants? You're like, no,
oh yeah,
because there's 15. And I know you want the one, and it's the specific one, and I'm not going to get the specific. I've learned with my husband, I need to give him like exact directions,
oh yes, absolutely. We don't
right?
function without exact directions.
Yeah, like the more
Like
specific, the better. I'm like, it's on the second shelf on the left, two-thirds back and slightly to the side. And then he's like, got it.
yes, because otherwise, what comes back is no, I didn't see it there.
Exactly.
Like, no, you said it was on the table to the right. It was not there. Like it could have been to the
To
left.
the
It could have
right,
been on the floor. Like
slightly askewed by a 60-degree angle.
measure it out. Tell us exactly. It's a right,
Uh-huh.
a left, and then a right. Three
I've
feet
learned.
down on the left. So, so usually when we start the podcast, I like to ask people for an interesting thing to tell about themselves. But
Uh-huh.
I believe I see some medals hanging over there in the corner.
Oh, he's getting right into it.
Yeah, so I would
Uh,
like to tell us a
so
little bit about those.
So we already had the mullet discussion, so I can't change the camera because it's like business and professional here, but it's like party over here. It's more my disorganization is over there. It's fine. Those are a couple of them are mine from some 5Ks, and then I did a tri relay, which was super fun.
What's a tri
So,
relay?
so I mean, you know, a triathlon, run, swim, bike,
Yeah.
and the relay is a different person takes each component.
Oh.
So me and two of my old coworkers, I don't even know how this got started. It kind of started as like yeah, that would be kind of a cool idea. And then all of a sudden it was like, here's your registration form. And I was like, wait, I didn't know I have to like train for this. So I did the swimming component. I've been a swimmer pretty much my whole life, played water polo, did all the stuff. And then one of my other girlfriends did the bike and another one did the run. It was so much fun
Wow.
because then it's like, first, I can't run, which is a story I can get into later, but then I don't have to worry about training for all the components, right? Only the one, and it's the one that I like, so therefore I'm already more motivated to do it. But I also got the opportunity to like be there and cheer my friends on and like do something as like a little
Awesome.
group together. The other ones are my husband's. He's run a lot of races,
Okay.
half marathons, full marathons.
Wow. Okay, so he's
He
just a
came,
runner.
he's just a run. And he's John, if you're listening to this, remember that I love you. He's one of those people who is very athletically inclined and he does not have to train to go do stuff, which for people like me, I automatically want to smack him across the mouth because I'm like, really, you didn't even have to try.
Didn't
Like
stretch or
he,
nothing. You just went out there and just ran it, huh?
yeah, you don't even stretch. You don't. There's no warm up. What? So, you know, I was saying before the podcast that he's active duty military and he was on a deployment, decided on the deployment, I'm going to run a half marathon when I get home. And I'm like,
Wow.
I don't care. You do what you do. Didn't train for it, really. Came
Wow.
home, ran the marathon like 2 weeks later, PR'd in his age group. And supposedly it was one of the hardest marathon routes in the San Diego area. If your listeners are familiar at all with San Diego, um, there's a city called La Jolla that's out on the ocean.
Okay.
And to get into the village, you go up a hill and it's a gradual slope that is, and at the end of this race, you run up that hill.
Wow.
And that was the first half marathon he ever ran. And he PR'd in his age group. And I literally was like, you are so extra. Can you stop? So
Wow.
his goal now is that he wants to do an Ironman.
Well, he probably could if he trained for like a month. That's all it's gonna
Oh, for
take.
sure. Right. But then, like, my monkey brain, he's like, I want to do an Ironman. And automatically, I start hearing the Black Sabbath Ironman song. And then I get distracted. So, yeah, I was like, you know, you keep collecting all these medals. Like, what are we going to do with them? So I got him that thing to hang it up. And eventually, when I grown up this room a little bit, like redecorate, it's going to be like our achievement room,
Oh,
like
nice.
all the plaques, all the medals, the college degrees that are currently, I'm not lying, underneath the bed behind me in
In a box.
frame, like actually hung up.
Oh, okay. At least you got him in a frame. Most of them they're like, mine's up in a
Dude,
box somewhere. They're like,
you know that it's there. You're like, I remember I did that.
I remember, yeah, they want all their student loan money back. I remember that
Oh,
part. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Isn't that
But
like the best feeling in the world though when you pay that loan off I remember paying off my master's degree loan and clicking the button and then being like real paranoid that the payment wouldn't go through even though I knew it was going to go through. Like what if they didn't receive it on their end or what if something messed up? And I had like 6 levels of confirmation.
oh, yes. You want like there to be a
Like
big parade. I feel like somebody should
yeah,
celebrate. Like I clicked submit. Something else should happen.
yeah, confetti. I'm picturing like confetti lights.
Yes. So, The whole nine. All
Yeah.
right. So, Lisa, you have so many certifications and fitness between you, your husband, like just fitness all around. So, I guess my first question, Miss Fitness expert guru that you are,
Not the one up.
um, the New Year is always a time when people want to jump on the bandwagon. I want to get into shape. I want to get, they're going to run their marathons and lose the weight and do all of those sorts of things. But also then people stop by like January 15th. They're like, not doing that anymore. So what would you advise people to like, have their fitness become more of a lifestyle and not just the bandwagon thing that they do every year or, every couple months? How do you move past that?
That is a very, very relevant question. I am not here for New Year's resolutions at all. This whole like new year, new me, new year, new you. I don't even know. I'm not here
Whatever.
for that.
Yeah.
Because why not just do it now? Like, you're really gonna, you have to wait until some like set date in the calendar? No. So, that would be my first place of encouragement is don't set the New Year's resolution. Just start now.
Yeah.
There's, because from what I have learned in my own life, even recently, there's never going to be a right time to do anything. The older that, like I said earlier, 27 until I die, but the older that we get, the more responsibilities that we take on, unless you're like independently wealthy and can sit around all day, you have things pulling you in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
Kids, spouse, household, and that's not even, verging on your professional capacity.
Yeah.
So why wait for that? I think where people get hung up is with the practicality of setting up a fitness routine, which actually is what I coach to in a healthful life is not, I'm like, I'm gonna have to take this back a little bit. So I got really frustrated when I got into the fitness industry of seeing these cookie cutter approaches to fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm gonna shove you into a box, you're gonna stay there for 30 days. And the problem that I saw was that after the 30 days, there was nothing for the person. How do I move that 30 days into a realistic maintenance plan so that what I can create for myself is a healthy lifestyle and not a temporary change? Because then you're like in for the 30 days and then you fall off the wagon and then you regress even further and it becomes this very negative mindset of like, this will always be a struggle for me. And I'm not saying either that people need to be like preparing for, like the fitness competitions or anything like that, but we are all smart and know the power of being healthy.
Yeah.
It's a matter of making it work for you. So, what I encourage people to do is, excuse my language, if you half ass the effort, you're going to get half ass of the results. So, you have to be intentional with the effort as well as with your expectation of yourself. So, what I coach people to do is to take a very critical look at what their goals are, what their life looks like, and then implementing incremental steps to get to the goals while not sacrificing areas of their life. So, if you tell me, for instance, I can consistently work out 2 days a week for an hour, but it leaves me feeling really stressed because I don't have enough time after the hour to get ready for the rest of my day or the end of my day or whatever time you're working out. And I would also like to work out 4 to 5 days a week. Why am I going to tell you that you need to go from 2 days to 5 days and stay at the hour when what you're telling me is the 2 days at an hour right now are leaving you overwhelmed?
Right.
Which tells me that you're not having the positive impact of fitness and that positive reinforcement of like, I want to keep going with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you can walk away from a workout and be like, that was perfect, even if it wasn't cute, that I feel good. That endorphin rush and you're good, you're going to be more likely to show up the next time.
Yeah. That's really good. That's because I can use myself kind of in that example is, me and my wife, especially because of COVID and everything, gyms have been shut down, they've been open, sometimes they're open, sometimes they're closed, but we've been wanting to work out more. So see your puppy jumping behind you.
Oh my
uh,
God. I don't know
but
how that door opened.
uh, but doing that work is like I know I realistically I don't have an hour every day to work out.
Right. And
So
I would also say on that, I don't know when it happened, societally speaking, that we're very, very stuck on this, like, I have to work out for an hour.
yeah, like, where that became kind of like the standard of that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, and I think I wonder if it became the standard of like, well, I need to do 30 minutes of cardio and then 30 minutes of strength.
Maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. But what I encourage people to do, hold on just 1 second.
Hmm.
At least I muted myself. So I'll jump right back into that. So, what I encourage people to do is to sit down once a week with their calendar and look at what their week is going to look like, because you typically have, your appointments and the things that are like non-negotiable worked into your schedule.
Yep.
And then let's treat fitness the exact same way. Like, this is an appointment that you make with yourself. If you're not going to cancel on your doctor, you're not going to cancel on yourself,
Yeah.
basically. So plan out that time. If you tell me, I know that I'll have an hour available to work out at, I'm going to pull this, hypothetically speaking, 1 p.m. on a Monday.
Hmm.
Cool. Now, what I want you to do with that is to look at it and say, okay, I know I'm going to need 20 minutes to like shower, eat, whatever after the workout is done. So what you're actually telling me is that you don't have a full hour, you only have 40 minutes to work out.
Right.
And then if we work in a warm up and a cool down, 5-10 minutes, even though that's not enough, but that's fine. So you actually have like 30 minutes to do a very intense workout. And it's so, when I explain it to people, everybody does what your face does. It's like,
You
oh
go,
yeah.
oh,
It's so
yeah, that makes
intuitive
sense.
right? Because we just overcomplicate it. We need to just simplify the whole thing.
Yep.
So, okay, you have 30 minutes to work out. Cool. We can make that work, but we need to make that work in the most effective way possible. So, is this going to be like a hard hit or lifting day, or is this going to be like more of a restorative, kind of like Pilates focus, that kind of core strength day?
Mm-hmm.
And then what I also encourage people to do is to have a backup time just in case, because there's fires all the time,
Yep.
something happens and your workout doesn't go, and this could even be for a first thing in the morning workout. Things don't line up accordingly and the workout doesn't happen. Okay, have a backup time set up, or even a backup day and time set up. Either one, you're good, but have the backup time set up. So be more intentional on the forefront. Have the time set up and also have what you're going to do set up.
Yeah.
So if
That's
you're like, okay, the 1 p.m. on a Monday works, and I know I'm going to do this, but if, let's just say, something happens with my kid at school and 1 p.m. doesn't work, I know I can move it to this time, and this is going to be the other workout that I do.
That's actually really good because I've never thought about having a backup time because I will typically I'll work out like at night because it just works better. I have other things I like to do with my morning, so I'll work
Right.
out at night. But things happen, and it'll be
Right.
the kids don't make it to bed on time, so now everything's pushed back. Or for a lot of people that want to work out in the morning, you get up a little later. That 5-10 minutes pushes you back. You feel rushed, so you skip the workout, and then
Mm-hmm.
you end up kind of kicking yourself because you didn't work out.
Right. And all of that feeds into the mindset. So if you have that like base security of like, okay, it didn't work out, I'm gonna do my workout at 3 o'clock, my backup time, whatever your backup time is. Or maybe it's even like a backup day. So the other thing that I really encourage people to do is to there's a level of intuitiveness to this that I think that we kind of neglect, and it's much simpler than maybe what we give it credit for, right?
Okay.
So if you tell me, like you just said, I have things I like to do in my morning, so I know a morning workout isn't going to work for me. So
Mhm.
I would not, as a coach, tell you 7 a.m. every day you need to work out,
Right.
because 9 times out of 10, that will not happen.
Yep.
But if you tell me I can totally work out at night, I can work out at night 3 days a week, and I can work out for, let's just say, a half an hour solid. And then I
Mhm.
need to like shower, eat, move on with my night, whatever.
Right.
Cool. What I would encourage you to do is to have backup days, because that's more towards the end of the day, right?
Hmm.
So if you like your wife's work gets messed up and she has to come home late, so she can't like relieve you and do the tag off so that she can take the kids and you can get the workout,
Right.
or if like, there's 9,000 things that can go wrong,
Hmm.
have another day that you can make that happen. And because what will probably happen, especially later on in the day, is you're going to go, okay, well, I scheduled my workout for 7 p.m. I don't want to do it at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
Right? Which fair. Like I totally get that, but that's you being realistic with yourself, which I can really appreciate. So okay, switch it to another day. Have backup days set up.
Mm.
Or do it at 10 o'clock at night, but have your backup workout be something like a restorative yoga practice.
Okay.
Something
Okay.
mellower and
Something
safe.
a little calmer, a little less
Right.
intensive.
Right. Because you're like me. You're like, I need to be in bed by 10:05, or I turn into a pumpkin, or this is what happens in my house. The later I go to bed, the earlier my kid wakes up. Why
Oh
is
yeah.
that a thing?
That's why morning workouts don't work. Because when you want to be up at 6, that's when your kid doesn't get any sleep and decided to wake up at 3 o'clock and
Yes.
was looking at you in your face like, I want some cereal. And you're
Yeah.
like,
And you're
oh
like,
my
it's
gosh.
3. I used to come home from the club at 3 in the morning. Go to bed. This is the last call. Lay down.
see, see, full parent mode. I like to see the Little Mermaid mug.
Oh, yeah. Cheers. I told you we were having a coffee and a conversation. But it is like being, we overcomplicate it when it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It just takes a little bit more forethought. Is that a word? I made it
Yeah.
one. Look, there you go.
Go with it. Yeah.
I'll go with it. Like a little bit more intention. And when people say, like, how do you even sit down and like plan stuff? What are you doing on a Sunday night? You
Uh,
sitting there watching TV on your phone. That's
yes.
when you do it. And yes, the first couple times it's going to feel very disorganized, a little bit chaotic, and you're not going to like it. But then you're going to get into a routine and it will be much smoother, and then eventually it's like the point that I'm at now. I know the times I'm going to work out during the week. I don't even need to write it into the calendar. But I've been doing this for years. Write it in. Have it
Mm-hmm.
all in one spot. The other thing that that does for you is saves you, especially because with COVID right now, depending on where you're living, gyms are open, gyms are closed, gyms are open, gyms are closed, or gyms are open, but it's like not conducive for you. Like
I
maybe
would
you need to
tell
wear.
you, I'm in Michigan. I think gyms are open, but they're doing a lot of outdoor stuff, and it's cold here.
Exactly. So, and it could be any of the things, right? Like maybe it's snowing and you don't want to work out outside. Boom, that will be
That,
me.
yep.
Maybe you don't want to work out wearing a mask. Also me.
Mm-hmm.
And none of these things are invalid for me, at least.
Right.
Maybe it's a comfort level thing. This pandemic has been anxiety producing and scary for all of us.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not something that you're comfortable with yet. Super valid too. Maybe your gym had daycare and the daycare component is now closed. Maybe
Mm.
there's capacity rules. Maybe you have to make a reservation and that's
Yeah.
like too much in your. There's so many
There's,
factors that play
yeah.
into it, right? So open, closed, whatever. if you can take advantage of the at-home workout, and by planning it out like that, what you're also doing is making sure that you're not spending 20 minutes going through the interwebs trying to figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah. Okay, so along those lines, because you mentioned this earlier about, kind of like the cookie cutter kind of fitness industry, but doing like at-home workouts can be very, it is kind of cookie cutter because you're either finding your videos either like on YouTube, or you got your own kind of fitness app or program or whatever, which I think is fine. But you mentioned like going further, kind of like after the 30 days, after you do like the 30-day program or 60-day program, what about after that? Because like, somebody doesn't want to be doing P90X for the next 3 years. Like, I'd like to be able to, maintain
You're like,
the
I
lifestyle.
need to move on. What was it? What was a program that I did like twice? Oh, Insanity. Have you ever, I'm going to digress for a minute because this kills me. Have you ever done the Insanity program with Shaun?
I attempted it and I started it. I was good for like a week.
Right.
But after like those, I had enough of me laying on the floor, collapsed in like the fetal position. And I was like, you know what?
Dying.
This is not it for me right now. Okay. I'm not there.
I love that program, but here's why. Because you would see like the people he was training get so into his zone that he would go up to them and start speaking to them, and he would be reading off of prompt cards. It was very obvious, and they would answer him in the opposite way from what they were supposed to say, and then he would be like, what the heck? I live for those moments. I remember him going up to one girl and she's doing like high knees or something, and he's like, do you want to quit? And he was expecting her to say no, and she looked at him and she goes, yeah. And he kept reading off the prompt for like 2 seconds, and then it clicked and he was like, wait, what? I died.
I might have to go back just to watch those, just to see those moments.
So when you get to the point where you're at the place of maintenance, that if you're on like a P90X program, Insanity, something like that, where you know that there's like a definitive end date, I think what you need to do is sit down and really look at, okay, how many days I've been at this grind pace, 5-6 days, probably with a program like that, maybe even 7 if they have an active rest day built in. Mm-hmm. How many days a week do I want to work out? And if you're like, want to, reality versus expectation, how many days can I realistically work out where I feel like it's still giving to me and not increasing my stress? Right? Because it has to feel good.
Yep.
And be really honest with yourself. Take it to that. And then a lot of those programs will have like, maintenance type things that you can do with it. Like after you're done with it, like stuff that you can keep doing from it.
Okay.
So if you're in a specific program, you can access stuff like that. You can always, that's why coaches like me exist. So you can ask us what to do too. Mm-hmm. Or you can also start going through and finding stuff on like Pinterest or YouTube that will work for you.
Okay.
Yeah. I think.
Go ahead. I was just saying, I don't think that part gets talked about enough. Like they want you to sign up for the programs and do you do all the programs and you're in it for, trying to commit for those, however long it is. But it's like the after part that you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Do I just take like a month off and then jump back into it, or?
No. Don't lose the momentum. Keep going. And it could even be, you could take workouts from that specific program and plug those into certain days too. Like there's nothing to say that you can't use those specific workouts again.
Okay.
On like your individual days, it's going to take a little bit more thought to figure out what you're going to do on the different days.
Okay.
Right? So then it's a little bit more of like, what workout equipment do you have at home that's easy for you to use? Are you going to need to get more equipment, which I realize is a little bit more challenging right now because everybody started working out at home and then there was like no equipment available. Amazon was like, whoa. And finding those workouts and starting to try them out. So if you have like a fitness app that you use, or you find someone on YouTube, or you find stuff on Pinterest, the other thing that I would encourage for people to do is, if you find like a fitness app and it has levels, beginner, intermediate, advanced,
Mhm.
a lot of the times those can be very intimidating to people because they don't know which level to choose. And they also know that they're limited on time. So it's like, I don't want to go and do like the intermediate workout or the advanced workout, and it's so hard that I can't do most of it. And I also don't know how to change up the exercises to be able to do it properly. But
Right.
the beginner workout is like so boring
Hmm.
that I don't know how to change it up.
Like that middle gray space there.
Right, right. So start with an intermediate, start with like the mid one. And what I tell people to do is try it out on a day where the workout isn't really going to matter. So maybe it's like an active rest day, maybe it's a day off, or whatever it is. When you have like 10, 15 minutes free, jump into like the intermediate level workout and see how it works. And you can kind of gauge where you need to go difficulty wise from there. The other thing that you can do, which is great now, is go through and read reviews and
Yeah.
ask, what about this instructor? What about this instructor? Like, I know I have a reputation of being a very, very hard instructor, because my mindset is, if, first of all, you get the A+ in the cookie just for showing up. 90% of the battle is getting there. Once you've done that, we're good. I know we're getting into Girl Scouts cookie season too, so cookies
Oh,
on
yes.
it. The other piece of it for me is, if you're going to take, like, I'm running virtual workouts right now. If you're going to take an hour of your day and work out with me, I'm going to make it worth your while,
Hmm.
because you took an hour out of your day for
Yeah.
me. So it's not going to be easy.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
You'll
part of like the mindset switch though, is like sometimes we go into the workouts already kind of thinking of the next thing that we have to do. So I'm not totally focused in the moment. So I'm not really, like giving it my all, because I'm thinking, oh, okay, I gotta, I gotta hit the shower, gotta get dressed, and I got, this meeting coming up. I got this coming up. So I'm completely just not really giving all my attention to the workout.
Right. And I love that you brought that up, because I tell my clients all the time, my goal is to make the workout be hard enough that they forget about their to-do list.
Oh, that's
Like,
good.
it needs to be a space where you can come in and let go of your stress and let go of the distraction and let go of whatever BS you brought into the workout with you.
Yeah.
Whatever baggage is there, it needs to get left there. Because I truly do believe that if you can walk out on that endorphin rush, not only do you feel more successful, but you can adult from a more effective place. And
Mhm.
that's the goal with this.
Yeah.
And I have I'll tell, you know, clients will come in, they're like pissed off at their spouse or whatever. And I'm like, I'm saving you bail money.
Well, really, like we need those outlets. We need those
Yes.
outlets, and I've been kind of, as I've been doing more podcasts and talking to more people, and we have this kind of misconception that our lives are supposed to be balanced, but it makes you think that, okay, each thing has a section, and really our lives are more. It's not balancing. It's really how you integrate things, how they come
Yes.
together, and that makes more sense, because if I'm able to work out and I'm able to let those frustrations out in like a healthy way, and take care of my body and do all those sorts of things, that will then feed into the other areas of my life, my
Mm-hmm.
relationships, how I go to work, or how I do all just everything else. If I'm feeling better about myself, that will just carry over to those other
Oh,
things.
I mean, on so many levels, from the level of like being able to let go of the stresses of the day, even if it's for 30 minutes, is so powerful to me. And I encourage people, a lot of it is through like active cueing while I'm teaching the class and stuff like that, to focus in on what they're doing now and to be present, because the more present you are, as a trainer, I know the less likely you are to get hurt. When you start getting distracted and I always tell my clients, Target is not closing between now and then. It's not going to get shut down. It's not going anywhere. You're totally fine. Focus on right now. What are you doing right now? Because if you don't focus on right now, you will get hurt. And I say that because I've been doing long enough that I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
The other piece of it, though, is when you can do the hard thing, whatever that hard thing is. Maybe you've mastered like a harder lifting move or a harder Pilates move, or you went into a HIIT interval workout that you've done before and you got more rounds, more reps, whatever it is. You just feel more confident about you, and then you can parlay that into every other aspect of your life.
Yeah.
And there's power behind that.
Yeah. And I think, and like, kind of like you were saying earlier, like being like that realistic with yourself. As you were talking, I was like, me and my wife have been doing workout videos together. We put the kids to bed and we'll make that kind of like our time together. We can't really go on dates and we can't really like go out. So we're like, you know what, we're going to be at home. We're going to work out together. That'll be kind of like our thing. We'll do it a couple days a week. And, I think setting like a realistic goal for myself was like, okay, it's been a while since I worked out, especially, it's easy to fall into that groove of, okay, having kids and you're working. And, for me, exercise was one of the things I just let go. It just kept getting pushed back and back. So, I know my like realistic goal is like, let me get through the whole video without having to, pause or take an extra break. And like, that's all I want. Let me get through the whole video before I advance to the next stage.
Which is a great goal to have.
Yeah.
And that's a completely accessible goal to have.
Yeah.
Like, I like that kind of very realistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
When I train people on HIIT stuff. So when COVID hit, basically, long story short, I have like a group of OG clients, and, I think everybody in America kind of shut down right around the same time in March, like that same week or whatever. Maybe it was different on the day. And I gave them like a week or two, and then I messaged them and I was like, well, obviously this 2 weeks and we're done with it isn't going to be a thing. So like, I know you guys are missing coming in and I'm missing training you. Like, I come at everything I do from a place of service so that I can give to the people around me to help them feel better, because I know the power behind that. I was like, look, this might be a total cluster, but let's try to do it on a Zoom. And we did. So they've gotten to do a lot of stuff that they never would have done in the brick and mortar that I train out of. They had learned some stuff there. We took it even further on Zoom. All of this has been on Zoom since March.
Wow.
And we started doing like fusion workout. I literally, to all those fancy certifications, it's like one workout. The kettlebell one was the most recent because I got bored. And I was like, I don't know. I love kettlebells, so I wanted to get certified in it. Basically, I wanted to learn more. But when we do the HIIT stuff, what I tell them is, it's not about like gassing yourself out in the first 5 seconds. We get into an interval, it feels like getting shot out of a cannon, like the beginning of a race, and it's not supposed to be that way. Because if you're gassing yourself in the first 5 seconds, the last 5 seconds of the interval, you're quitting.
Yeah.
And that's what you don't want to do, because in a HIIT workout, the break is intentionally built in a specific way to get your heart to work in a specific, it's called exercise science. We do kind of know what we're doing in the fitness industry, just saying. So I will encourage them, when you start the interval, don't be going balls to the wall. This isn't a competition between you and anybody else. Well, maybe you and yourself, but find a work pace that is consistent. So like you said with your videos, so that you can get to the point where you're, not gasping for breath. You can get through the whole thing. Yeah. You don't have to take the breaks. You're not stopping. And then what you do is you take that, and in like a month or whatever, you go back to that and you see if you can push your pace a little bit. Incremental steps to get to where you want to be. Because from going 0 to 60, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And I think that like having like that 0 to 60 mentality is why New Year's resolutions don't work. We start out like, oh yeah, I'm about to jump on this, and kind of like you said, like we think the calendar started over, so everything like we all got a fresh slate and nothing carried over from the previous. You're like, no, I still got all the same responsibilities. Them
Yeah.
kids are still here. My spouse is still here. I still work. Like nothing changed, just the date. Like
Right.
I am not 15 and have no place to go and nothing to do.
Please, even when we were 15, 16, we had jobs. Don't
Yes.
even.
Oh,
Like, I
absolutely.
know
I
you
worked a
did.
job, went to school, played in a
Yeah.
band. Like I'm still doing all the same stuff, but
Yes.
nothing
Yeah.
changed. So it's that mentality is why people quit. Is like you start out like, oh, I'm just gonna clear all this space in my calendar. You didn't have that space before. So what makes you think, oh, January 1st, I've got all the time in the world now?
And then think about, because, professional education, I'm always thinking about how people think. Like, think about how that impacts your thinking. So you're like, man, I have all this good momentum and I'm getting going and all this. And then January 16th hits and you find an excuse.
Yep.
Because the reality is that you're tired, or it's not really actually working with your life in the way that it should. So the excuses are much easier to come by. So you're just like, I'm going to take today off. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yep.
And then tomorrow becomes tomorrow, becomes tomorrow, becomes tomorrow. And then it becomes my favorite time of year, mid-February, where no one is in the gym.
Oh, nobody's in
Because
the
they
gym.
all
You don't
quit.
realize it till like April when you're like, oh, I want to go to the beach this summer. Let me try and lose all this weight. You're like, well, no,
Right?
that's not how this works.
But then it's that like negative spinning wheel in your head of like, well, I couldn't do it before, so I'm not going to do it now. But
Yeah.
the way that I see that come through when I coach people is the excuse game. I can't fill in the blank.
Mm.
And then my face says, really? Really, you can't? And the favorite for me is when, and this happened literally on New Year's Eve. People know what I do, and I just kind of let them talk. I like listening because you gain more by listening, right?
Oh, yes.
So I like talking about the fancy equipment, fitness equipment she bought, and now it's like in the back room and she just walks by it. And it was like, excuse, excuse, excuse. And then I'm just listening. And then she glances at me and it was like her hand got caught in the cookie jar of like, oh my God. And she was like, you probably hear stuff like this all that. Her face literally dropped and she was like, I shouldn't have said that in front of you. And I was like, talk ahead. Like, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm here to hear all of it. I can also help you get past that.
Yeah. That's part of like the being honest with yourself. It's like we buy all the equipment, all the new stuff. I'm like, well, if you weren't consistently doing it beforehand, just because you bought a new bike, treadmill, weights, whatever, just because you bought something new,
That mirror thing.
it only lasts. Oh, that looks sweet though. Oh, like that kind of looks sweet.
It does kind of look so.
I don't know if I would actually use it or it'd just be a mirror in the house. So,
But see, you're already like, is that worth the investment? But that's a smart way to put it. But even then with that, it's like, okay, so what were you working out before? If you're like, yeah, I was working out an hour, but I couldn't maintain it consistently. Okay, well, what about like 20 minutes 3 days a week, 4 days a week? Is that more realistic for you? Let's figure out how to make that work.
mm-hmm.
And I had a client and that was her goal. She was like, I do 1 to 2 days a week. It's an hour. I want to be up to like 4 to 5 days a week, but I know the hour is like too much. Work, kids, spouse, all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, what about like 20, 30 minutes? When you have an hour, save it for when you're training with me directly in person.
Right.
Or on Zoom. Mm-hmm. But for you, the rest of the time, what about like 20 minutes? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you probably spend 10 minutes a day refreshing your email or going through the search algorithm on Instagram. Or you go into the black hole on TikTok and just fall off the face of the planet for 3 hours.
I refuse to join TikTok for that very reason.
I refuse to join TikTok for that same. I'm like, nope.
Like Instagram already sucks me in, so
much.
I can't add another thing. I don't need another one.
Videos of the Italian Greyhound with the outfits she couldn't wear.
Yes.
You think I'm kidding? I'm not. I'm gonna find you on Instagram after this. I'm gonna you're gonna be like, what in the actual? But then you're gonna start laughing, and then your kids are gonna start laughing. Yeah. So you can make the time for even a 10-minute workout.
Yeah.
And you can make that 10-minute workout feel like an hour-long workout that brought you to your knees very easily if you know how to leverage that time out properly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that thing that's kind of, it's just the biggest thing of, like you were mentioning ahead, scheduling out your time. And so much of what we do, we just kind of just going with it, just kind of going with the day. Well, yeah, if you're just going with it, you get up kind of at the last minute, or enough time to grab your cup of coffee before work. You had to, your day's gone without really having to schedule it, or without you even really thinking about it. So by the time you thought about a workout, it's already 6, 7 o'clock at night.
Right.
And like, okay, well, maybe
And then
tomorrow.
dinner time, kids
Hmm.
getting ready for bedtime, because my child has a bedtime.
Oh, absolutely.
You're like, oh, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
My husband tells her it's time for bed. Daddy's work shift is over.
I might need to try that. My kids be like, overtime, punch in, daddy, punch in.
Yeah.
Like, we're not done.
Like, I have a union. I get time and a half for this.
Like, oh.
We're so serious over here. But no, being intentional with it. And I think that my intentionality became that way when I started a Healthful Life, and I was still, I still train out of the brick and mortar, and I was doing all the things, and it was like, I need to have time carved out in my day, or this is not going to happen for me. And it even was like being intentional with what my mornings look like, and like my morning routine and all that, which I didn't think would ever be a thing for me. And it is now. But like making sure that happened, because then, like you said, otherwise you kind of just get caught up with, the course of the day. And then by the end of the day, you're like, man, I had 57 things to do on my to-do list, and I got to 2 of them because I just kind of got caught up.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing ended up getting accomplished.
Yeah.
And then all those things roll over into the next day and the next day, and then it's Saturday and you haven't worked out all week.
Yep. Been there. So
Welcome to adulting.
it is. It is. Sometimes you look up, and especially because of COVID and all this, when people are really talking, like the days run together, like, yes, they all seem exactly the same as it was the other day. So
Groundhog's Day in the worst way. I can't even
yes.
tell you. I was like, man, she's going to be in kindergarten. I'm going to have like time without her. Nope.
Nope. You thought so. Ha.
Tricked you.
So this has been great. So before we get out of here, I want to tell us about your business. So a healthful life.
It's a mouthful. So, a Healthful Life is an online training platform to do exactly what we've been talking about for this last little bit, which is to help people, specifically busy adults, make working out and fitness be a part of their routine so that they can have the healthy lifestyle that they want to have. It is not a cookie cutter program. It is private coaching, individually tailored goals and plans for what you want to have happen. So everybody's setup, like with what I specifically coach them to do, looks completely different based off of their life, their goals, their schedule, time constraints, all of those things.
Wow. So you're completely going just one-on-one with the person.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So
Yep.
you've got
And
to have your time scheduled.
yep. It's work. But like everything that we talked about, literally sitting down with a person and going through everything. My goal is to be the dispensable coach. So to work with people, to give them all of the tools, all the knowledge, all of the resources, all the stuff that I have, so they can walk away being like, okay, I know how to do this on my own.
Okay.
And I got this. I can do this.
That's
Because I
awesome.
truly do believe that this is a completely achievable and attainable thing. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of tweaking to get it there.
Mm-hmm. And that's really good, because I'm just, the tweaking you have to be open to the tweaking and making the adjustments. And I think sometimes
Mhm.
we treat fitness as like an all or nothing. Like I've got to make every day, if I'm doing the 30-day program, I've got to make every day. Otherwise, I just quit. And, because I've done that before. Like, oh, I need to, make sure I do all 6 days, or I missed a day in the middle. I missed Wednesday. So then I'm going to try and do Wednesday on Thursday. And I just be like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to stop.
Yeah. No, we're not here for that. What I want is for people to walk away being able to continue what we were already doing and know that I'm a resource for them to go back to when like stuff comes up or they have questions or whatever. And the benefit to it too is I I would be doing nothing with all of these certifications and education and time training and all the years in this industry if I wasn't paying it forward to people and giving my knowledge to other people. Right? So then you have someone to come back to be like, this happened, that happened. Like, how do I change this? How do I adjust around this? And you don't have to go searching for the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's really good. So thank you, Lisa. So thank you for joining us on the podcast today. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've learned something, and I've been encouraged to continue my fitness journey and just, setting realistic goals and doing that. So tell everybody where they can find you at.
Oh, cool. So the easiest place, I'm like, but I know he's going to have the show notes together.
Mhm.
So the two places that I normally give out are my website, my Instagram. My website is ahealthfullife.org. And then my Instagram handle is my name, at Lisa Peranzo. And they both link back to one another. So
Okay.
the website has recipe links, my blog, all the social media links, application to work with me if that's something people are interested in, my Amazon, it's got all the stuff, the Amazon store, all the fancy things. And then the Instagram bio, the link in the bio links back to all of that. What I will say, because I know I sent you this link, I'm pretty sure I did this yesterday, is as a thank you to your listeners for listening, I created a workout guide for them that is free, totally and completely
Awesome.
free. So I have to get on like my trainer pedestal for a hot second though. So
Yep.
here's the deal with the workout guide. You download it, you can use the workouts. They are ready to go as is, but they are baseline workouts. So you can make them harder if you want, or you can make them easier if you want, whatever is going to be more respectful to your body. However, if you get into it, this is my asterisk on all of it, and you have questions like you're coming back from an injury, you're not sure how to change stuff, you want to make it harder, but you're not sure like how to do that, where do you start the weights, whatever. Any kind of question that comes up, please reach out to me. Don't keep those things to yourself. I truly want to see everybody around me be as successful as possible with this. So reach out, ask questions, email me, DM me on Instagram. That's usually the fastest, but put in there because it's going to go into like the I
Yep.
don't know this person
The
pile.
catechism of I don't know you.
Yeah. Yeah. So make sure that you put in there what you're
Lead
writing.
with that. Lead where you got it
Lead
from.
with that so that I know, because sometimes there's some weird people who slip into the DMs.
Don't say, really? There are
Really
people on the internet like that. Get
go.
out of here.
Yeah, so just DM me, and I totally, what I usually do is I will take the workout, I will tweak it, change it however for whatever the person's needs are, and then send it back to them. And then what you'll get is that workout back, and you can see how I've changed it so that you can change other workouts as well.
Okay, awesome. Yes. So, like she said, all of this will be in the show notes. So, we'll put notes and links to where you can find Lisa, where you can get the download. So, we're going to do all of that, try and make it as easy for you guys as possible. So, thank you once again to Lisa for joining us. This has been awesome. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So,
Same.
all right.